Like, you know, it's enough songs out there tearing y'all down, calling you out your name, calling you out your name.
Preach.
Right. You know
right. Right.
Each own. I pick my lane and I drive it well. You know what I mean?
Right. You do. And I just was in my bed last night listening to Roses, and I'm a real sensitive. I'm a big baby, and I was crying. I was like, "Yes, Lord, you're gonna bless me one day with that man." Yes, Roses. Yes. So, King, tell me what inspired you to write that song. That's one of my favorites. I love that song.
Really, that's interesting.
Yes.
That's a record that's probably like heavily induced with Prince Roger Nelson Sarah.
Yes, I could feel it. I was like, yes, he did this.
Shout out to Yazara, who's a real dope artist to work with as well. You know, phenomenal artist. We got to get her on here at some point, but she's dope, man. I feel like she was very fitting for the layers and the textures of what I was trying to accomplish in that record. And you know, we worked previously. We had a duet that's floating around about a decade ago. So it was like right on time for us to kind of like get back in sync and start working again. You know.
Right. So King, tell me a little bit about your Decade of Love. King of Love, King. Tell me a little bit about that album, because the whole Reverse. I love Reverse. I love all them songs.
Yeah. So Decade of a Love King album. That's album number 6. You know, which was like the prelude to the Love Reunion, which is my most recent project. Decade of a Love King, in particular, was kind of, I titled that project Decade of a Love King because we were entering into a new decade. Okay. You know, that album dropped in 2019. And I knew it would spill over, and I knew it would spill over into 2020. But Decade of a Love King, the Love Reunion, and my next body of work that'll be out before the year is out. 2020 Love Affairs. That record, those 3 projects are like a R&B trilogy series. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And the truthfully speaking, like it's something I never really shared until now, is that my last 2 albums, technically, they were like mixtapes. They were like original music mixtape, original catalog, but in my mind, I created them the same way I would a mixtape. And because I feel like, in the past, people have held like my mixtapes in such a high regard that, and not to take away from any of the previous albums I put out, but there's
all your albums are good to me.
Yeah, there's an edge that is always, the mixtapes have always had this edge to them, a little edgier. You know what I mean? So I approached the recording process and the songwriting process as if I was making a mixtape. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in doing so, I was able to kind of like mesh and find myself in a way I never had before. With album number 7, the Love Reunion, in particular, and it started with Decade of a Love King. I can really say confidently that I feel like I'm a master of my artistry now as a result of that. You know what I mean? And it took some time. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't something that happened overnight, or But I feel like that's when most artists really start to tap into their mastery, in their artistry, and that's when artists really start to become defined. And it's kind of like you really see it for what it is. Okay, this artist has staying power, or they kind of have reached the pinnacle of what it is they'll be doing and move on to they'll move on to doing other things and just having a catalog and going out and performing that. And but me, I want to be great at what I do and constantly reinvent myself.
You are phenomenal at what you do, King.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, but I definitely, it's the goal to find ways to also reinvent myself at the same time.
Yes. And King, you're also an actor. So when are we going to see more projects of you being?
It's some things in the works. Some voiceover projects and stuff for an animation piece that I'm in talks about. Of course, Love.com. That film is out now.
Yes.
Johnny Fox. It's doing just a great time to check it out. Quarantine and Chill.
Yes.
Up.com, which is on Netflix. And there's another movie that I have that's coming out called Available Wife that I'm in as well, which was also in Washington D.C. So yeah, definitely looking to pop up on your plasma at the crib.
I am be like,
these different streaming services, Hulu and Netflix and all these different platforms.
Okay, love. So, King, you also have a song called Just Right. It's very, very beautiful. Can you tell me the process and what made you create that song, Just Right?
Yeah. Oh man, Just Right. That was special, man. Like I can't say it enough. On album number 7, The Love Reunion. Once again, my most recent album is called The Love Reunion. It's out, so on all digital platforms. Check that out. I don't know, man. I just became a master in the process of making this album. It's like I really tapped into.
I just want to testify to you that you did that. I just want
yeah, I tapped into my greatness.
Yes, you did. And you showed the beautiful chocolate.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Vic Bozeman, who's my co-star.
So gorgeous.
Yeah, she was my co-star in the video. She actually just dropped a new single at midnight called Juicy. So
okay, I gotta check that out. Yeah,
I do a late night quarantine party. Actually, last night I wasn't scheduled to do anything. Really, this morning, and I was doing some personal birthday greetings, which is kind of like an online business I've started since I've been in the crib.
Okay.
And so I was knocking some of that work out, and then I was already dressed, and I'm like, man, I feel like I was already dressed. It was like midnight, like kind of like it would be if we wanted to go out to a club or a lounge, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on live and let's just do a pop up thing right now, and I'm gonna play a couple of records. So I broke V's record last night. I could say I'm the first one on the planet to play it. The first music curator. Some people might want to call me a DJ, but I don't want to disrespect the art form because I'm totally I'm not a DJ, but I know music, and I'm just in here just creating a great time, atmosphere for everybody that's on quarantine, especially at night, because especially with some. Calling my phone while I'm trying to do an interview with Mother Earth. Shame on them.
It's okay.
Who do they think they are? No. So I definitely. What was the last thing I said? It was good too.
You was talking about quarantining that night.
Yeah. So it's a perfect opportunity to kind of like shake off some anxiety. I don't know about this can create a lot of anxiety and stress. You know what I mean? With all this going on with COVID, so especially at night.
Yes.
So I go on and relieve that and create that for somebody, So we did a pop up last night, and I played V's record, but I like to use all different shades and tones and definitely got to represent the team.
Yes. Now I hear you do, but I would love to see more juicy big women like me, plus size women.
I got some. I'm gonna source something now. I gotta write the tune. I want it to be a big. I want it to be a big thing too. Yeah. A nice big. If we're gonna do it, we gotta make it nice, big, and juicy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey. Yes. So, King, tell me, give me some words of advice to people that are trying to become artists, that's trying to get out there in the industry. Give me some words of advice to those that's watching right now.
Man, I mean, now is a perfect time. Unfortunately, we either, when we recognize how different we are, we either try to dim or turn down our light, right? Or and I did that once upon a time, but that we all have our own identity. We all have, this fingerprint. I'm the only one in the universe with it. You know what I mean? So, tap into your art, tap into your artistry, tap into your master skills. And it's nothing wrong. It's okay to be you. There's nothing wrong with being different.
Say that again. It is okay to be you. It is okay to be you. Because a lot of people in this world feel like they have to be somebody else in order to be seen, or in order to get noticed, or in order to get this recognition or that recognition. It is so important to be yourself. That's what I teach on my show. To just
we definitely, I mean, unfortunately, for a lot of the new millennials, like, that became the new cool, you know? Like, the next person, you know what I mean? You can't really decipher, you know, who's who, you know? And you see it more prevalent in the hip-hop community, you know what I'm saying, in the artistry, and it kind of spilled over into like the R&B genre, you know what I mean? And, you know, where at one point, I mean, even now, it's a lot of like mini Drakes. Kind of like
mini Futures.
mini Drakes, mini Futures. I wouldn't say mini Futures per se. I say mini Drake. Yeah, I guess you could say because Future definitely.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of records being
like different sonically. You know what I mean? So, but I would say mini Drakes, mini Futures, and many Lil Waynes. Because Lil Wayne is kind of like the goat of them all. Like, you know, he kind of he did all the. You know, whatever he really pushed it to the limit in terms of like not so much even a hip hop artist, but more to me like Lil Wayne kind of cultivated himself into like a rock star. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Very different.
Like,
but a bit different.
Like, you know.
Yeah. So King, so tell me, who's your role model? Who do you look up to? Cause you got like Marvin Gaye, Donny Hathaway, you got a little bit of Al Green. You old school, and that's why
I think it's a lot. All those elements are in there. You know, definitely a huge Marvin Gaye fan. You know, you know, being not being birthed in DC, but pretty much, you know, being adopted the way that I have, and just, that area has always been home for me. Definitely, you know, feel like we kindred spirits in a lot of ways, you know. But I'm also a huge fan of Prince as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like some Prince too.
Those would probably be my top two.
Okay, King. So King, so tell me when we should be seeing you go back on tour.
Man, right now I'm on tour. Right now, I'm doing the Boombox Basement tour right now.
Okay.
You know, while we on quarantine, I've actually been doing concerts. I just did my third online concert about a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks, going on 2 weeks ago. I actually have a tour's birthday bash concert that I'm doing, online concert that I'm doing on the 8th of May at 10 p.m. I've been using a site called stageit.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so again, that's stageit.com, stageit.com /Raheem Devon 575 is my official page there. So you make a profile page. It's a pretty cool site, pretty easy to use. But I do have a staff that's on you know, volunteers that on standby to walk through anybody who needs help, you know, signing up to make a page. And the cool thing about it is, you know, in the climate of where we at in the country and on the planet right now, for those that still want to be entertained, it's pretty dope that you can make your own ticket price. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, so there's like a suggestive ticket price, and then there's like make your own ticket price, you know. And it's been great to be able to like sustain my business, so it's not taking a major hit.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you know, I've been independent for like 10 years, so I am a walk. I'm a walk like yourself, and I'm a walking brand, and I know that, you know. So it's, you know, I have a business to run. I'm an independent business. And you know, just like you know, you have a lot of companies that are shut down right now.
Right.
And a lot of major corporations are using this opportunity to like downsize. You know what I mean? You know, we're gonna grow from this and come out smarter, but we're gonna walk out of this. There are going to be some businesses that we used to patronize that they're not going to survive. Like, they just not going to survive. Then for a number of reasons, right?
Right.
You know, I will survive. You know what I mean? And I think that what's really going to speak to that is just the fact that I did take the time and the tenacity to really make sure that I put a quality music out. So, because right at this time, it's a whole nother wave of people that are just discovering me for the first time. You know what I mean? Which is a cool thing, because even when we were moving around, you know, in Normandy prior to this, I never walked in a room assuming that anybody knew who I was. You know, like, the goal is that when you step out of the room, or when you leave the room, that you left an impact that, you know, is so monumental that people, you know, they then take an interest in what you do, quote unquote, find you and follow you. You know what I mean? That's the world we live in now.
Right.
So I hold that in the highest regard, you know, when it comes to, like, the quality of music that I put out, and the mark that I want to leave on the world, you know, not just as an artist, but a humanitarian and a human being.
Yes, King. You're leaving beautiful marks as we speak right now, King. And not do you leave beautiful marks, you also invest in a lot of charities and you give back. I remember when I saw you at the AIDS Walk, and your performance, it was so beautiful and touching. And the roses you gave every woman in their roses, it was so beautiful. So, King, tell me how important it is that you give back to charities. Tell me how important that is to you.
It's definitely important. More so to give it back to charities. I actually started a foundation. We more so give back to the community. Like, that's you know what I mean, and you know, seek partnerships, and
it's called the Love Foundation, correct?
Yeah, the Love Life Foundation.
The Love Life. Okay.
Yeah. So, a few of our initiatives. One is to fighting domestic violence, feeding the homeless as well. We've done work in the past with Jasmine Crow, who's out of the Atlanta area, who has been feeding the homeless and displaced for over a decade, under the bridge out there in Atlanta, Georgia. You know, so we a few years back, we did Operation Nourishment, which was something that was founded by a brother, Tony Lewis Jr., community activist here in Washington, D.C., and I came on board as his partner, and then we then linked with Jasmine to do Operation Nourishment, you know, here in D.C. It was pretty dope. We fed over like 300-400 people. You know, so it's just one of many events that we've done, you know, over the last decade. Fighting domestic violence is another major initiative that we have. Of course, the partnership with the AHF, which is the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Not only are they making, you know, new initiatives to fight COVID, but one of their main initiatives right now is affordable living, which has become a major thing and a major issue in LA in particular. So, you know, just been giving them our full support on that, you know, through the Love Life Foundation. And just trying to just be a, you know, beacon of light and do our part in the inner cities, you know, and for people of Black and brown color and people in general. Because when you talk about issues like, you know, AIDS, HIV, or, you know, COVID, or homelessness, you know, the one thing that they all have in common is that nobody is, you know, anybody can kind of be at risk. You know what I mean?
That's so true.
Yeah, especially with the climate of the economy right now, and where things are headed and where we are. Like, you know, I think it's safe to say that the average person, like, whether it's, you know, performer, recording artist, actor, whatever, like, you know what I mean, is like living either it's like show to show, some of us, and it's like check to check for others, you know. So, you know, definitely, it's that time to tap in and reinvent yourself, because it really boils down to being an asset versus being a liability. You know what I mean? And if you either one or the other, you know.
Right. So King, before you leave out, I want you to go ahead and drop all your information, the latest things that you have coming out. So, because the world needs to know who you are, and they already know who you are. You go. It don't need you to go. So I want you to go ahead and drop all your information, King. And before you get out of here, I just want you to sing something to Mother Earth, because I need to hear that voice.
Yeah, so you can reach me on Instagram. You can reach me on Twitter, of course, at Raheem_Devon. Once again,
now make sure y'all follow him.
Yeah, follow me for sure. Yeah, at Raheem_Devon. Also, while we campaigning, I do have a full quarantine schedule. Tomorrow, Saturday nights, you can catch me on Facebook, my Facebook Live. Of course, facebook.com/Raheem Devon. I'll be on there at midnight, man. It's
midnight.
The Garden of Love. We do. It's like slow jam curation at its best. You never know what I'm going to play, but I always play the right things. Sometimes I play some things that'll be like, hey, who is that? What is that? Where can I find that? And then sometimes I play, right behind that, I'll play one of those, one of them things, one of them oldie but goodies,
Yes.